If you don't already know, the second expansion to Roadcraft Reclaim is now live. I have been playing this since launch day. Last week, I showed it to you on the public test server. Now, I'm going to go ahead and give you my real verdict, and then we're going to jump straight into Autumn Collapse from the beginning. Welcome back, everyone. I am F5 Dad, 45 years of gaming. I still lose sleep over construction simulators. Quick housekeeping, if you haven't seen last week's public test server video, check that one out first for the full deep dive on all of the new mechanics. This video is going to be a fast verdict plus a full map run. Let's get into it. So for everyone who did watch my public test server breakdown video, the short answer is the full release is exactly what the PTS did promise, except a little bit more cleaned up and polished. The core mechanics have not changed. What has changed is the stability. The bugs you would expect from a test server are mostly gone. Performance does feel tighter, but I do want to call this out, as it is worth mentioning. A lot of people are stating they're experiencing crashes with the new expansion. I have not seen it, but either way, I do want to point it out. I can tell you the vehicles do seem to be adjusted. I had a problem around the storage truck because that thing was top heavy. It would flip. I have yet to experience that with the since it has gone live. And the maps, I can tell you, do feel a little bit more complete. The Autumn Collapse mission chain does flow better in the live version than it did in testing. If I can tell you, if the public test server kind of sold you on the expansion, the final product delivers exactly on that promise. There is no bait and switch. What Saber did show us is basically what we got. All right, the big question, is the Roadcraft expansion worth it? Look, for existing Roadcraft players, I'm going to simply say yes, it is. The Demolition system, yeah, it was pretty cool, but I can tell you after my 10th building, I was just like, okay, big deal. But still, it did change the core mechanic of the game, tearing down unsafe structures, salvaging the materials, feeding them back into your rebuild operations. Look, I can tell you that loop does add genuine strategic depth that the base game never had. It does make you think differently about the environments that you're going to be working in. Two maps at 4 kilometers apiece. Pretty solid content, I can tell you, for the price. They are distinct. Autumn Collapse is going to be a dense forest recovery operation, whereas Summer Drought is going to be a harsh environment focused on water and resource management. You're not going to get the same map twice. 7 vehicles with clear purpose-built roles. It's not going to be filler. Not everybody's going to like them, but either way, every machine is going to earn a spot in your roster. If you're new to Roadcraft, I can tell you, check out the Anniversary Edition. That also released. What that is, it is at $59.99. It does bundle everything, or simply grab the base game when you can, because I can tell you, you might not want to commit to the DLC. Try the game out. Make sure it is going to be the type of game that you do want to play. But for everyone else who already owns the game and you're already playing it, buy it. And let me go ahead and show you why. So before we jump into the map, let's take 30 seconds on the vehicles, because these matter for how you approach Autumn Collapse. Dragline Demolisher, it is your headline machine, wrecking ball, heavy demolition, salvage operations. We're going to see this in action very shortly, and it does deliver exactly what they showed. The Torque G175 Tree Crusher is essential for Autumn Collapse specifically. Dense forest that would take forever to navigate around gets systematically cleared. Game changer, I can tell you, for the map. The Hollander M7 cable layer does restore power infrastructure. There is a dedicated mission chain for this on the new maps that didn't exist before. The Minuteman K370 Explorer, it is going to be your radar scout. Survey unstable terrain before you commit heavy machinery. Smart play, especially early in a new map. The remaining 3, the Derry Longhorn Heavy Rescue and the 2 Wayfarer Dump and Cargo variants. Look, it's going to round out your fleet for heavy transport and material movement. That is going to be your new roster. Now, Autumn Collapse from the beginning, and let's do it. All right, brand new map, brand new game, and I am going to go ahead and start my game off with the Minuteman K37. When it does kick off, I'm going to go ahead and stay quiet so you can watch the introduction of August Collapse, and once it finishes up, we'll go ahead and kick this off, and I'll come back onto the mic. Spoiler alert to anyone out there, because I am going to be showing the map right now. Good chunk of it will be unlocked, but that's going to allow me to guide you through each objective and how I completed it. We are looking at the zoomed out portion of August collapse. As you can tell, it is big. So for this video, we're going to unlock this entire section, so you're going to be able to see how it looks. For the second video, I will be unlocking this section, which is the entire right side. As you can tell, it is still kind of masked by that fog of war. As a quick tip, I did go ahead and unlock the K370 by jumping into another map. It did cost me about $25,000, and that is the reason why I could choose it at startup. All right, let's go ahead and dig into this. Very first thing you're going to want to do is head straight down the road, make a right. That's going to allow you to find your home base, and guess what? You're going to be able to see a quick introduction of the Demolisher. So there it is, the vehicle everybody's been waiting on. Like I said, I did enjoy it, but it did kind of wear on me pretty fast. So once the video is done playing, just proceed forward. It is going to flash up 2 or 3 screens about how to use the Demolisher. And congrats, you just unlocked your very first base. This is the core base of operations. You're going to use this from now till the end of the video to basically do all of the objectives and unlock the map. So here is the Dragline Demolisher. I can tell you everybody was super excited for this. And guess what? They're going to throw you straight into it right at map start. So all you're going to do is you're going to drive over to this first building and let's start swinging at it. One thing I do wish, though, is the sound of the ball when it hits the building was pretty weak, and I was hoping for some, like, huge blast, maybe like a shotgun blast or something like that. I know, wishful thinking, and I don't know if it'd sound right, but all you're going to do is you're just going to put this guy and put your parking brake on, and you're just going to swing back and forth. I think it'll take about 4 swings to break the building. So as you can tell, as you hit it each time, the building does kind of shake a little, so you know you're doing a good job. Swing, swing, swing away. You're just going to keep swinging until the building does kind of explode into some materials. All right, come on. Fall down already. I didn't think it would take me this long. I don't know if I'm swinging the ball far enough, but hopefully this is going to be the last smash. And come on, smash it. There we go. All right, so it finally did kind of explode. As you can tell, there it is. There's your first building smashed, and I hope you're as satisfied as I was maybe the initial time. But unfortunately, my excitement did fade pretty quick, especially after you begin doing it multiple times. Once you do demolish the building, you can take some of these resources, store them back into your base. So let's go ahead and continue on with the objective. Very first thing is you do want to build a road here. Now, I do caution to everybody about halfway or maybe 2/3 of the way, maybe about right in this area, you're going to find a big tree just laying over the road. So if you do take all of your vehicles and begin them building the road, they are going to get stuck. So I would recommend you deploy your stump cutter before you do anything, and that's exactly what we're about to do. So throughout the entire video, you're going to see I'm either going to cut through it or I'm going to kind of speed it up. That way we can get straight to the objectives and I can really show you the highlights of the map. So now that we're at the tree, let's go ahead and cut this guy down. And once done, go ahead and teleport him back to your main base, and let's go ahead and deploy our road vehicles to begin building the road. Now, as with all the Roadcraft vehicles, it does cost money, but in this case, I was able to deploy the new dump truck so you can see it in action. I do like the new dump truck, especially coming from the public test server to what I see now. It does appear they did make some changes to it, such as how much sand it can carry, along with it did seem to tip over a lot more in the public test server, but I'm not experiencing that now with the live version of the game. Also, the vehicle is very slow, but honestly, that is expected when you deal with a heavy dump truck. Now, the other thing I want to point out, guys, is the road is so close. Do not waste your tokens by teleporting all your vehicles, because it will be a waste, and I can tell you, as you go throughout the map, you are going to need these tokens to do certain things and make your life much easier. The other thing I do want to point out is you will not have enough sand to complete the road, but that is a very simple fix. Just go ahead and send your dump truck down the road until it runs out of sand. Once it gets to the end, teleport it back to your base. Once back at the base, go ahead and refill your dump truck and go ahead and send it right back to the starting location. Now, while the dump truck is kind of completing and before you send it back to the base, what I would recommend is go ahead and load up all your vehicles, get them down to the starting location. That way you're ready to go. The reason why you want to do that is once you teleport the dump truck back and refill it, you will want to send your bulldozer down to flatten the road. If you don't use the bulldozer to flatten the road, I can tell you, your dump truck is going to get stuck. You will need to repeat this process as you begin to build the road. So it's very simple. Send your dump truck till it runs out of sand, send it back to base, reload, use your bulldozer to flatten. Once everything is done, send your paver, smooth it out, and road is now done. So another quick tip is instead of using the same dump truck over and over, just deploy both your heavy dump trucks so you can complete it in twice the time. So let me go ahead and deploy the K370, and as I already stated, any scout will do. The goal is to go ahead and drive yourself all the way over to unlock that objective. Once unlocked, you're going to follow the exact same concept that I did with the first road. And yes, believe it or not, this road also is going to have a tree that blocks your path. So make sure you deploy that stump cutter, cut the tree to free up the road. Remember, guys, do not waste 10 tokens to unlock the sand quarry. Yes, it might take you a little bit longer to drive your vehicles over, but I'm telling you, it's going to save you a huge headache as you get further into the map. All right, so let's go ahead and repeat the exact same process. Deploy your dump truck, let it run until it runs out of sand, reload it, send your bulldozer, flatten it, send your sand truck again, and just repeat the process until completed, as with paving, and then rolling it all out. All right, so with 2 roads completed, let's go ahead and head to the next spot I want to show you guys. Again, I'm not really following the side missions, the main objectives. What I am doing, I'm showing you the best way to complete this so you can unlock the next portion of the map. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and head down this road. What you're going to do is you're going to make this left at the end, and you're going to follow this up and around, and this is going to take you up to the radio tower, or what I call the communication tower. These are hidden objectives in Roadcraft. You will need to power them up before it does unlock additional portions of the map. But from there, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and unlock the tree crusher. So continue and follow this road back down, and you're going to cross over and into here, which you're going to see the coastal base. As soon as you approach this, you are going to unlock the tree crusher. All right, so I went ahead and already made that left. We're heading down the road, and as you can tell, there is some deep mud, so your scout might get stuck, but you'll get through it because it's not super deep water. For whatever reason, you can tell, man, do they love just putting trees and branches across the roads? But either way, you can easily kind of skate around that. All right, once we go ahead and get around this tree, just continue straight, and what you're going to see is the communication tower is going to go ahead and be up on your right. You may need to kind of get closer to it for the objective to unlock, but either way, this is what I call the AKA Snow Runner watchtowers, because in Roadcraft, these are going to be hidden objectives. You will be required to power these up before it does unlock portions of the map. All right, I'm going to go ahead and speed up the next portion of this, because all you're going to do is keep going up, and then once you get to the top, kind of go around, and then you're going to head back down the hill. You might hit some heavy mud on the way, which could slow you, but once you get to the bottom, we're going to cross this little stream, and then we're going to be real close to. All right, as we go ahead and approach the bottom, we're going to cross the lake here, and we're going to be real close to the tree crusher as we round this boulder here. And if I'm accurate, I'm going to say 3, 2, 1, and let's go ahead and show it. So with the tree crusher unlocked, I'll kind of talk to that here in a bit. But let's head to our next objective. Feel free, if you want, teleport it back to your base. And what we're going to do now is we're going to head to the next section of the map. We're going to do that by going back to the main base. We're going to go ahead and follow this road back down. Remember that first road you created? Let's go ahead and take that, follow it all the way to the end, to this point here, and we're going to build a bridge. Now, you might have a fog of war here that's not going to allow you to finish the bridge. So if you were able to unlock the K370, go ahead and deploy it here. Let's go ahead and scan it so you unlock this portion of the map. Now, you do have an alternative route. You can take any of your scouts and you can kind of go up this way, go around these boulders, drop yourself down, and you're going to unlock your first ghost building, which again we can talk about. But from there, follow the path around back to here. That way you unlock the fog of war. And again, let's go ahead and complete this bridge because it's going to make life easy for you. Now, I did go ahead and deployed my K370, and honestly, I think you should have enough money by now to be able to deploy it. It is around 24,000. So let's talk about the Scout itself. I think this thing is super fast. I do like it. In fact, if you want to zoom into the inside, if you are driving it and kick in high gear, and I can tell you this thing will spike at 90 miles per hour, which I found pretty funny. Now, the other thing I do like about the Scout is it does have an active radar mode. It will unlock a large portion of the map. Now, I do caution everybody because it does take a token every time you do use it. Now, I am about to go ahead and kick on the radar scan, and I'm going to flash up the map, and then we're going to take a look right after so you can see the large portion it does unlock. So there you go. You can see I flashed it up. It will take, I don't know, 5 seconds or so for this thing to come back down. And once it does complete, we're going to see how much more it does unlock when you talk about using the radar scan. As you can see here, it does unlock a large portion of the map. So with that, let's go ahead and build our first bridge. I want to say I think it takes six logs to complete this, and let's go ahead and do that, and that's going to be our next objective. So let's go ahead and go back to the base, head into your vehicles, deploy your cutter. There are multiple trees right at the base, so once you deploy, go ahead and make a left, head down by the wall on the right, and you can absolutely go ahead and cut all your trees. In fact, well, there's actually one right here I think I did cut, and then I did go down towards the end and finish all of my cutting. All right, as you can tell, I'm almost done. I did need a total of 6 logs. Once you get those done, we will go ahead and head back to the base. We're going to deploy the tree hauler so we can come down, pick up all the logs, and we can take them to the bridge and move into the next portion of the map. I do laugh every time I deploy this crane because when I think about all the other cranes, I'm actually pretty good with them, or at least I think I am. But man, first time I used this thing, it was a nightmare. This crane is so flimsy. I could not get the hang of it, and I was just blown away by how horrible I was. But over time, I did get a lot better with it. So with the bridge completed, you know what time it is. Let's go ahead and head back to the map. So there are going to be 2 objectives we're going to attack next, and it is all around restoring the hydroelectric plant. The first thing you will need to do is you got to replace this pipe, but I'm not going to do that yet. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and chase down a transformer that is found all the way in this location, and also the reason why we built the bridge. To complete the objective, I am going to go ahead and deploy my heavy crane. You can use the other cargo trucks, but I love this guy, especially in the bigger maps. And for whatever reason, this does become my workhorse. I can pretty much pick up vehicles, major objects, especially when we get to the transformer. And that's exactly where we're going to go head to. Now, before we hit the transformer, we are going to hit the ghost buildings. And let's go ahead and talk about that. As you play throughout the game, you're going to come across these buildings that look like ghosts. Upon unlocking them, as you get close, it's going to show you the amount of resources you need to rebuild that building back up. By doing so, it is going to give you some additional money. It's going to give you stars so you can go ahead and unlock additional vehicles. And there are times when you will be required to rebuild it before you can move further into the map. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on to the objective now that we talked about ghost buildings. So what we're going to do is just keep going around this. We're going to head to the transformer. We're going to pick it up with a heavy crane, and we're going to take it back to the hydro plant so we can restore its power. So I am a family-friendly channel because if not, what's about to happen caused me to cuss up a storm. As you can tell, I rounded this bend, and the back part of my tire did catch the cement, and it flipped over my vehicle. So yes, this did cause me to go ahead and redeploy my crane, and I had to drive it all the way back to pick up the transformer, so I'll probably cut out that piece, at least until the part where I pick it back up. All right, so now that I'm back and I finally got the generator back on board my crane, I'm going to start heading back, and for whatever reason, guys, this generator did not like me. As I begin to cross the bridge, I'm going to smack the dirt, and the generator is going to go flying. So I did call it a generator. I meant to say a transformer, but for whatever reason, this thing just had it out for me. But I do promise everyone, we are going to make it to the plant. Once we get there, you do not want to go from the bottom. You do want to take from the top and deploy the transformer from there, which I'm going to go ahead and show you. As you approach the hydroelectricity plant from the top road, go ahead and look for the spot that you see in the video and go ahead and back your heavy crane up into that. Get as close as you can to the edge and go ahead and deploy your anchors. Once you know it's safe, because it is possible you could tip it, go ahead and swing your transformer around and drop it into place, and let's go ahead and attack the next objective. So at this point, let's go ahead and teleport the heavy crane back to your home base. And yes, there was a reason for me leaving the resources out because there is a pipe right there that you will need to complete this objective. So go ahead and grab the pipe from there, or if you did put it in resource storage, just make sure you go ahead and take that back out. Once you got a hold of it with your crane, let's go ahead and drive back to the hydroelectricity plant. This time, let's take the lower road and go beyond it and look to the left. You are going to see a red pipe that you will need to replace. So go ahead and grab the old one out of there, drop the new one in, and guess what? We now just completed the hydroelectricity plant, and we now have power and can go ahead and move into our next objectives. With the hydroelectric plant being completed, this is going to restore power back to the region. This is going to allow us to complete 3 new objectives along with using 2 new vehicles, one being the Hollander and the other one being the Tree Crusher. So what we're going to do is we're going to go down here to the Substation dam. We're going to run our power all the way through here, back around up to the radio tower. From the radio tower, we're going to go back down to the coastal base. And let's go ahead and complete that. Then I will show you the 3rd objective where we need to pull power. Let's go back to the home base and let's deploy the Tree Crusher. It is one of my favorite vehicles, and I will kind of touch base on that a little bit more. But first, let's go ahead and drive that back to the dam, which is right across the bridge. So when I think about the Tree Crusher, it is going to become one of my favorite vehicles. I wasn't super impressed in the public test server, but not sure why it changed. But either way, I do like it now. And yes, the Tree Crusher is slow, it is cumbersome, but I'm okay with it, especially when you think about the benefits this guy does provide. So what you're going to do is as you approach the trees, you just go ahead and activate it and it's just going to run over them like they're nothing. The other thing I do like is you can use it to smash down those trees that kind of fall over across the roads. At the same time, you can use it to roll over multiple stumps like they're nothing. The one thing I did notice though is with the new maps, they did embed trees that the tree crusher simply cannot run over, which I don't know. I mean, I guess it makes sense because you don't want somebody just clearing out the entire map. As you push through and tear down trees, you will eventually come across a patch that you will not be able to cut down. I would recommend you stop there, go back to your home base, and let's go ahead and deploy the Hollander to begin pulling cable. As with the tree crusher, once you deploy this guy, what you want to do is drive it all the way back to the dam. So let's go ahead and talk about the Hollander. I do like this guy a lot. It does keep up its speed, especially when you're pulling cable. At the same time, I love the fact that it is super skinny compared to the old cable pullers where the back end would have to spread out. And it was very hard to navigate, especially when you get among woods and some other items. So with the first objective out of the way, and that is the communication tower, it is going to kind of unlock more of the map because you did restore the power. And with that, let's go ahead and continue on to objective 2, and let's restore the base. To complete this objective, just go straight right down the hill across the stream. Continue around the rock and go straight to the base, and you're going to see the blue outline. Now, it will not state that you completed the objective because there is something else you will need to do. But once you hit that point, you're good to go, and let's move to the third objective. After restoring power back to the radio tower and the coastal base, let's move to the third objective that we need to power up, and that is running power from the hydroelectric plant all the way back to the substation pumps, and we will be using the same vehicles. If you haven't done this already, go ahead and take your Hollander and your tree crusher, and let's teleport them back to your main base because that is where we're going to start from. You do want to hop in the Hollander, and let's go ahead and drive it back to the hydroelectric base, and let's begin to pull the cable. Once you get to the point of the video where I stop, I would recommend, because you're going to start running into some tree stumps, this is where you're going to go ahead and pull out the tree crusher, drive it to that point, and let's begin to tear down stumps and trees so we can finish this objective. All right, so let's go ahead and deploy the tree crusher. Now, I can tell you this is going to be a longer segment, so I am going to cut pieces out. I am going to speed up the video. Either way, though, the goal is to get back to where we need to pull the power. The reason why I'm using the tree crusher is because you're going to run into a ton of stumps that you're going to have to basically run over. It would take forever if you're going to use the other vehicle. But once you get to a certain point where the bridge is, then what you're going to do is we're going to start tearing down some trees. As we get closer to the substation pumps, we're going to hit a huge field of stumps, and this is where the tree crusher is going to save you so much time. So with everything cleared out by the tree crusher, it's now time to kick back to the Hollander, and let's go ahead and do that now. So you're just going to go ahead and begin pulling cable from where you stopped all the way back to the substation dam, following the path that your tree crusher did create for you. Well, my final objective for this video isn't really an official objective. It's rather setting us up for the next part of the map, including my next video. And with that, guys, you do want to deploy your mobile base. You're going to go up and around and basically run yourself all the way to here where you're going to unlock the steel beam facility, which is a ghost building, and then just kind of drive down through the forest, and you're going to take this road back and around to this part. The reason why we moved the mobile base, and also the reason why I told you to save your tokens, it's going to allow us to deploy some vehicles because you will need to build a bridge. Again, I think it's 6 or 7 logs, and then deploy your log vehicles and begin harvesting, build that bridge, and that's exactly why I'm going to end this video, and I will begin my next. So the reason why I wanted you to go ahead and save all of your tokens, because if not, it is going to be a real pain to go ahead and drive all your vehicles over here. Sure, you can do it, but at the same time, it is going to take some time. So go ahead and deploy a mobile base and follow that exact path that I showed on the map previously. Now, the reason why I told you to save all your tokens is simply so you can save time, as that path is pretty treacherous, and trying to take, multiple vehicles over there so you can complete that bridge will be kind of a pain. Once you get your mobile base to the spot that you need to, go ahead and pull in your K370. Use that to pull up to the edge of the bridge and go ahead and scan it using your radar. Again, it does take a token to do that. And then go ahead and pull in your tree vehicles, as you will need those to finish the bridge. And with that, I am going to go ahead and end the video and the gameplay, and I appreciate everybody watching. I do want to thank everybody if you did make it this far into the video. That is the Roadcraft Reclaim Expansion with a bulk of the Autumn Collapse map completed. I still have that entire right side, which again, I am going to do another video to show you how I completed that. And if you're already in the expansion, do me a favor, drop a comment, as I want to know what you think about it. Beyond that, I do plan to do multiple videos with the summer drought map. And if this was useful, do me a favor, guys, subscribe so you don't miss the summer drought and the completion of autumn collapse. And with that, click F5, reset, reload. I'm F5 Dad, and I'm going to see you on the next video.